Hey YouTube! Today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to make your own slide gloves on the cheap. This is for beginners who really just don't want to put money into the investment of buying a set of slide gloves for $60. This is what I did for the first 2 or so years of learning how to longboard and slide. It's really good to have your own safety equipment, and if you can't afford it, then you're going to have to make your own. These are the Home Depot special slide gloves on the cheap. What you really want from a slide glove though is all leather. This part in the back is nice and stretchy and everything, but as soon as that touches the pavement, it just rips right apart. Your grip tape will rip it apart, especially if you're using Vicious. Same thing happens to your thumbs. Right now I've got to pick up some more slide pucks, but that's not going to happen for a little while. If you've got all the tools, these gloves are really only going to cost you about $10 to $20, depending on where you buy your gloves and the cutting board. If you don't have all the tools, you're going to have to buy the coping saw and you're going to have to buy the blowtorch. And none of them are very expensive, and they're definitely going to be cheaper than having to buy a new set from Dark Speed or Landyachts or Loaded or Sector 9. All of them make great products, but they are definitely more expensive than this version. And if you're a beginner, these will help you slide and will help you get used to the safety equipment before you have to buy your own. These are my Dark Speed slide gloves. This is bought from a company. They come with Velcro pucks. You can buy separate pucks to replace them. But if you don't want to buy an entire set of gloves with its pucks because you're cheap or you're new and you don't want to make the investment, I suggest making a set of these instead. These are the homemade work glove slide pucks. They're not very fashionable unless you like orange. They are safe. For safety, you can kind of flash these. If you need to get somebody's attention, slide gloves are always slappable. This is a pretty important step in what you need to do to become a longboarder. You don't need to make your own, but you will have to buy some slide gloves if you don't. So this is the way that I did it for the first few years, and I suggest everyone do it this way because it's cheap. So I went to the Home Depot yesterday to get the materials that I need to make this project. Hopefully you don't have to buy one of these, but this is a propane torch. This is probably the most expensive step of the process. This cost me about $25. Self-starts and comes with propane. You're going to need a set of gloves, any style you want. This is just the easiest kind, they're the most durable, they'll last you probably the entire time. Leather for resistance. The back of this stuff is going to breathe, and the leather is going to be tough. Shouldn't fall apart right away at all. These gloves were $5. You're going to need a coping saw. This coping saw was about $5. Cutting board was $17, but you can buy cheaper ones. This is a poly cutting board. You basically want to make sure it's this kind because this will slide. And we're just going to cut this up into squares. Okay guys, now that we're all opened up, I'm going to show you the process. Basically, you want to cut out a square, 2 squares actually, of this poly cutting board in about the same size as you would have on your palm or you want the slide puck to be. It's going to have to stick on here, so it can't be much bigger than this. It's about a 3 by 4 inch square. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by cutting off this little meat juice or juice groove, because we don't need any of that. We're gonna go see if a cutting wheel will be faster. I'll bet it is. And we'll do just a little bit of drying out on this. Alright, so that's what we're cutting out. Here's Devin. He's gonna help me cut out these slide pucks. Yeah.
Woo! We gotta move that down a little.
Yeah. Even if you only did that much, it would be a lot easier for me to cut.
Why?
It just came out of the screw, huh?
That's weird.
Yeah, look at that, breaks right off.
Nice.
Perfect. Pops right off. Alright, so here we are, all done cutting out our slide pucks. These are just going to go on like that. We are about to heat up the top layer of this cutting board and melt it onto the gloves. Okay, so we've got our pucks cut out, and I've got my propane torch. We've got the gloves we're going to use, and we're just going to have to melt the top layer of these pucks to attach to the palm of these gloves. While you're melting this, you're going to want to notice that the top layer becomes liquidy, and you want to just add an even heat so that the whole thing melts down about 1/8 of an inch. You just want to keep the heat on it. You don't want it to burn. You don't really want to breathe in the fumes, so that's why we're outside. But you just kind of heat up the top. Melt a little bit. And then you want to just add it to the glove. There it is. Really hot. It'll look like this. Pretty hot on the inside, and these wear down pretty fast in comparison to real pucks, but you've got an entire cutting board worth of it, so you can just add another layer by melting this, and sandwiching on the next piece. It's a little hot, yeah. Like right now it's getting hot. Alright, so there's your cheap slide gloves for those of you who do not want to invest money in buying a real set. Though you should, because on a real slide puck these are much higher density and last much longer. But you've got that entire cutting board worth of material to use up before you have to buy a real set of slide gloves. Ain't that neat? Thanks for your help, Devin. Here we go, guys. I'm going to show you how these slide. So as you can see, they slide. They only scuff up a little bit. It's mostly just dirt. But eventually they will wear down and you will have to torch the top of them and put another piece on. So while you're melting these on and pushing them down, you really want to make sure that the edges are attached well. These all came out pretty good. Just this one corner didn't come out that great. You just heat it up again, smush it if it starts coming off. It will eventually rip off, but it's much sturdier than the Velcro that is on these. And those stay on. So my slide gloves routinely fall apart. This one, as soon as you get up to the edge here, the pavement just rips a hole in this non-leather material. You can see here, it's also pretty ripped up. The grip tape does a really good number on the thumbs as well as the pavement. I like to fix those with duct tape and just wrap them up. You can also get your rubber cement and do an overlay of a thin leather, and that'll hold those together.